We're talking less than $2 billion. How high were some of the previous estimates?
Look, it seems like some of the extreme outcomes in terms of monetary fines could be off the table. Remember, Goldman's involvement in this 1MDB scandal has been one of the biggest blows to its reputation in the last few years. It has triggered a series of investigations, embarrassing revelations of, a former banker bribing government officials. So the Wall Street firm is obviously very keen to put this scandal behind them, and a resolution with the US of under $2 billion would put it on track to avoid some of the worst-case scenarios outlined by analysts, which went up as high as $9 billion earlier this year. One interesting side note in our story today was the involvement of Attorney General Bill Barr, who seems to have gotten into the weeds in this case, which seemed a little odd to us, and that's why we highlighted it in the story. It'll be interesting to see how this finally pans out. Remember, they have not dotted the I's, crossed the T's yet. That is yet to take place, and perhaps will happen over the next couple of months.
So, Sri, let's talk about the timeline a little bit more here, because, this has been dragging on for a while. $2 billion definitely seems like a manageable number for a company of Goldman's size. What would be the sticking point at this stage that would drag this out any longer than the next couple of months?
Yes, Romain, you're absolutely right. This has dogged the firm for the last few years. There are a few moving parts to this. What we're talking about here is just the U.S. side of the resolution. It should help resolve most of the issues with the other federal agencies in the U.S., the DOJ, the Fed, the SEC. But there is also a parallel track with the Malaysians going on. They have to resolve some of that. With the U.S., you'll also have to figure out what the fine print says in terms of whether they take a guilty plea or not, whether it's going to be a deferred prosecution agreement and stuff like that. That still has to be worked out, and there will be a few marathon sessions between the lawyers on each side in the coming weeks and months.
And I'm glad Romain brought up the timeline, because Goldman will soon be holding its investor day as well. I believe it's the first one. So it definitely wants to be able to announce something to bring some clarity to this ongoing overhang on the stock. And by the way, we should give you and your teammates credit, because this is all according to Bloomberg reporting. It has not yet been confirmed by any of the different parties involved here.
Right, Scarlett, in terms of the Investor Day, you're right. It is going to be Goldman's debut Investor Day, January 29th. So they would be keen to have a resolution in this case so that they can announce it to analysts and investors. The Goldman stock, as you pointed out earlier, is back to the level when David Solomon first took charge of the company last October. So it is at a new 52-week high. Analysts and investors are trying to find new reasons for cheer with the Goldman stock. They're looking for new direction for the company and hoping that there are some positives there. So in the process, if you can put this scandal behind them, it'll be even better for them in the long run.